When it comes to disciple making, why does it seem like we always end up back in the same place? Well, if you're a church or ministry leader, my guess is you've seen this pattern play out. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. But the pattern is this. First there's a decision made that we need to lean more into disciple making. We need to help with that in our church or in our ministry. So the leader looks around, talks to friends, and figures out, all right, we're going to try this one, this curriculum, this program. Get the leaders together. Tell them how it's going to work. Set a launch date. The launch date happens. People sign up. Excitement is high. And people get into these disciple-making groups of 3, 4, 5, sometimes even more. And part of the agreement of being in the groups is not only will you be committed to being there, but after you complete it, maybe 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you are going to lead a group yourself. And so this happens. So over the first couple years, sometimes 2, 3, up to even 5 years, it looks amazing. Progress is surely being made because these groups are multiplying. But then something happens, and what happens is really discouraging and a crisis point for many, many leaders. And what happens is this: the groups begin to decrease. Instead of multiplying, now they're falling. And as they're falling, leaders are asking the question, what happened? Did we do something wrong? Did we not do what this said for us to do? Or even sadder to me, some of them conclude, maybe disciple making just doesn't work. As I've walked alongside church and ministry leaders for the past 10 years, I've seen that happen repeatedly. I've heard those stories over and over again. But it doesn't have to be that way. And that's what this book is about. This book is about how do we stop that cycle of laying program after program over unchanged lives? How do we get to sustainable disciple making that continues to make progress and doesn't lead us right back to the starting point again? You see, what I believe and what I've learned through experience is that disciple-making progress can be had, but it must be supported by a disciple-making foundation. And that foundation is really a core team of disciple makers. And I didn't make this up. This is what we see Jesus doing. He didn't just try to do that cycle with whoever would come in. What he did is he selected a few, and not only did he help them become disciple makers, he formed them into a team. And it was his team that had the support and the maturity with one another to overcome the challenges that would come to them once Jesus left, when they were sent out on their own, 2 by 2 as well. And so I believe this would be helpful for you. If you're in that cycle, if you've seen that cycle, if you want to escape it, or if maybe you just want to take my word for it, that that's typically what happens. Check this resource out. I wrote it for you, and I wrote it to be really practical so that you can apply the things in the book and you can start forming this foundation that can support the weight of disciple making wherever you're trying to minister.